Join host Charisma Eve on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and unapologetic authenticity. In each episode, Charisma dives deep into conversations, exploring what it truly means to embrace oneself fully and live life with genuine charisma. From personal antidotes to interviews, Unapologetically Me is a space where vulnerability meets strength, where listeners are encouraged to celebrate their uniqueness and step into their power without reservation. Tune in for inspiring stories, practical tips, and a dose of unfiltered wisdom as Charisma Eve guides you towards embracing your most authentic self. It's time to own your truth and live unapologetically. And now your host, Charisma
Eve. Good evening. I hope that everybody is having a good day. I hope that everybody has had a good day so far. And we're going to talk today about something I know that all of us sisters either has already experienced or is maybe looking forward to or has had a conversation about, and that is menopause. Yes, ladies, we're going to talk a little bit about menopause this afternoon. And, I did a little bit of research, and I've already gone through menopause, and it's amazing to me because I learned a little bit more about menopause because, we tease and we talk about male menopause, but men actually do go through menopause. So there are 3 stages of menopause, and they are perimenopause, menopause, and then there's perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. So, when we start to go through menopause, you might want to ask the question, well, how do you know that you're going to go through menopause? And how do you know when you start to go through menopause? And the way that you can tell that you're going to kind of start to go through menopause is when you start to slow down in your cycle, when your period starts to slow down. And that can kind of start to happen in your late 20s or your early 30s. Which for me, it started in my late 20s. And that was because of a couple of different reasons. I had gone through some things in my early teens that had to do with infertility, which I'll talk about maybe later. You can go through menopause surgically, or you can go through it organically. And I actually went through it surgically. But you can start to go through it in your late 20s organically. And when I say organically, I mean it can just kind of start to happen. And you can start to have kind of erratic periods. Your period can kind of fluctuate. You can go for a full 28 days, and then your cycle can come on. And then it can last however long that you would normally stay on. For some women, you can have 7 days. Then you may have 4 days. You may have 2 days, and then it can start to fluctuate. It just depends. But then what happens is your estrogen levels start to fluctuate. And then you start to have a lot of different things to go to happen with your ovaries, and your reproductive system starts to um, fluctuate. And it just differs with everybody. So when I start to look up things, I saw that everybody has a different experience, if you would, when it deals with menopause. But all of these symptoms are the same. You can experience hot flashes rather. You can experience night sweats. You will experience insomnia, weight gain. Um, you can experience hair loss, belly fat, um, memory loss, vaginal dryness, um, mood swings, sexual dysfunction, um, cholesterol changes, um, increased urination. Now, this one was surprising to me because I experienced it, but I did not know that it was coming from menopause, muscle or joint aches. And you can also experience things such as, you know, you can have lighter periods. Sometimes your periods may come on. And have you ever experienced where your periods may be lighter? When I say lighter, they may be a lighter pink or they may be a heavier pink. And like I said before, it just depends on the woman. Everybody's cycles are different. Now, and it can last with perimenopause, it can last up to 12 months. Everybody's different, right? So once you go through those things, once you start to experience those things, you really need to go and see your doctor at the beginning of those things. You need to see your doctor because just because you are experiencing those things, you need to see your doctor because you could also be experiencing some other types of illnesses like fibroid tumors. You could be experiencing overactive thyroids, like with the weight gain. I didn't know that I had hypothyroidism, but I started to experience problems with my thyroids. And I had overactive thyroids and ended up having to take thyroid medication for about 15 years, along with the problem that I was having with my menopause. And so I had both of those things going on simultaneously when I was dealing with menopause. Um, and so those are some of the things that you experience during menopause. They don't go through what we experience. Women, we go through having babies. My thing is, I didn't have, I wasn't blessed to be able to have children. But men don't go through what women go through. We go through a plethora of things. We go through having children and we go through raising children. Then we go through menopause. And then some of us, we even go through raising our husbands. It seems as though, you know, but we don't complain, especially if you got a good husband. But you go through menopause, you go through having your children, you go through all of these problems and illnesses, and then you have to deal with these things. And then I don't know. I talk to a lot of women, and this may be even something that I may talk about later on, but housework, that's an issue that I talk with a lot of women, because women, you know, I'm a spiritual woman, but the Bible talks about us being helpmates. And I know a lot of women that work. Until I stopped working, I would go to work my 9 to 5, come home, cook dinner, and I was raising my nephew at the same time. And this was even when I got sick, before I knew I had MS. And then I was going through menopause, because here's the thing. Even when I went through menopause, my doctor told me at 32, because I had surgery. I was surgically put into menopause at 32. And I was still working. I was raising my nephew. And then I was diagnosed with MS at 48. So I was going through all of those things, but I was still taking care of my household. I was still cooking. I was still cleaning house. But men, they seem to just fall apart when they get sick. They don't, you know, they don't do like we do. We come in the house, we put our pocketbooks down, and we can be sick, but we don't seem to fold under. We just push through and we just get it done. If like right now, I yesterday, my washing machine and dryer are on the blink right now. We went to the laundromat. I have 3 baskets of clothes that I need to fold. And when I get done with this podcast tonight, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to finish folding those clothes. Why? Because they have to be done. And my husband would probably offer to help me, but because he does not fold them the way I like for them to be folded, uh, I'm not going to want him to help me fold them. But I say that, I digress, because women, we take on a whole lot and we push through, even though we may be sick, we still push through, and we make it do what it do, because we're going to make sure the house gets clean. We're going to make sure dinner gets done. This weekend, our church had a big function in Washington, D.C. this weekend. I didn't go, but you know what I did do? I made a baked lasagna and I baked a cake to make certain that when my husband got home, dinner was cooked and he had something sweet. Even though I didn't feel all that well, I did a little bit and then I sat down, you know. But I said all that to say, and once again, I digress, because this was to be a podcast talking about menopause. But we as women, we take on all of those things. And even if we're going through menopause, we just go through the motions. We go through those illnesses and things of that nature. And we still push through and we get it done. And at the end of the day, we make sure everything is done. And then we go to bed and we get up the next day and we get up and do the same thing over again. Because God, I don't know, it's like God makes us strong, stern, and it's so crazy because he put man to sleep because he saw that man was going to need some help. He said, let me get him some help. because he's not going to be able to do all of this by himself. He put man to sleep and said, I'm going to get him some help because he's not going to be able to do all of this by himself. But even though he put him to sleep, he knew that our bodies were going to need to be regenerated, reproduction. When we look at Eve, when she had to have the babies, reproduce children and go through menopause and all of these things. I talk to a lot of women. Sometimes I don't meet strangers, and I'll sit and I talked to a lady the other day, and she said, I can talk to you all day long. I was talking to her about the podcast, and we talk, and every woman, be it white or black, we seem to go through the same things. We have the same, I don't want to say issues, but we seem to go through the same things. But anyway, we deal with the hot flashes, and we deal with the overactive thyroids, and we deal with the weight gain. And one thing we deal with, and I don't think sometimes they understand, but we do deal with the mental part of it. How we have the, I'm losing my train of thought here. When we have the mental issues, and we just, what is it I'm trying to think of? Oh, wow. And we have the fatigue, the tiredness. We go through that. And even with the fatigue and the tiredness, there are times when we get really tired, but we can't even really take the time to get us a nap. Now, I make it my point. My husband gets up in the morning at 5:30 to go to work, and I get up with him to go to work. Sometimes I may even get up to take and fix him a cup of coffee. Sometimes I may fix him something to eat, you know. But and then there's seldom. Well, I haven't been back to bed since he went to work this morning, you know. But that's just me. But we get tired, and then we have these mental times when we just have a breakdown. And when I have these times when I have breakdowns, you have to figure out what works for you during the menopause. When you have the menopause and you have the mental breakdown, sometimes a good hot shower will work for me, or a quiet place with a candle. You have to find things that'll work for you, you know. Um, and then postmenopause normally comes after, well, it comes after menopause, and that's when your period goes completely off, when you don't have a period anymore. And I don't have a cycle anymore, and that's generally after 55, maybe 56, and I'll be 59 in December. But I haven't had a period since I was 32, and that was because of me having the surgery. And when I had the surgery, I had my cervix, my uterus, my fallopian tubes, my womb, all of that removed. And that was because I had endometriosis. All of that removed. So I haven't had a cycle. I haven't had a period since September the 28th, 1998. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Ask me, do I miss it? Absolutely not. The last period that I had was on for 20 days. It came on for 2 days, went off, came back on for 20 days. And I had to go on pills for fiber because my fiber was very low because I lost so much blood. And that was part of what happened during the process of me going through menopause. But that was during me going through menopause. Now I am postmenopausal. And during the time I was going through menopause, one of the worst things I think I experienced for me was the night sweats. The night sweats were horrible. But menopause was one of the worst experiences as a woman that I've experienced. And out of everything, I think if I had anything that I would want to offer to you all, I would want to share that somebody shared with me. I think journaling is something that is a good thing that will help you with menopause, because sometimes when you journal, it's like getting your feelings on the outside of you. It's one of the best things that you can do. And I think journaling is a good thing. I think journaling is a good thing. But I just wanted to give you a little snippet about menopause. I know everybody has heard of it. I know if you haven't gone through it, you've heard about it. It generally stops, like I said, around 55, and if you know of anybody that's going through it, why don't you sister up with somebody and help them out? Because it's something that is very difficult for young women nowadays. And if you can be of a help with somebody, help them out, because it's nothing easy to go through. Laughter is medicine. So if you can help somebody by giving them a good laugh, do that. But I'm going to go ahead and shut down for the day until next Wednesday. And I hope that I know I saw some things today that I had not seen. And I hope that I said something that has been helpful, or that you haven't heard about menopause. So until next week, I hope that you're blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you the next time. This is Charisma Eve, and it's unapologetically me. And you have a good evening. You have a good day, wherever you are.
Thank you for joining Unapologetically Me, Charisma Eve. Please like, share, and subscribe, and join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for another exciting episode wherever you listen to your podcast.